Velkommen til TechTest TV. Jeg hedder Lars Benetsen, og i dag vil jeg godt snakke lidt om en ny serie SSD'er, der er kommet fra Western Digital Blue, der er baseret på den ret spændende NVMe SSD-teknologi. Jeg har snakket med Darragh O'Toole, der er Product Marketing Manager hos Western Digital, for at få ham til at fortælle lidt om de nye drev fra Western Digital. Men først så skulle jeg faktisk lige have afklaret en ting, og det var, Western Digital leverer et hav af drev i forskellige farver, og hvad betyder den her farvekodning? Prøv at se, hvad han fortalte her.
And as you probably know, we try to make our storage as easy as possible for people to understand, because storage can be complicated. You don't want to spend your time trawling through data sheets trying to find out the right product. So we color code them. So we've got a green, blue, red, black, all based on applications. So in the kind of typical good, better, best, we've our green, our blue, and our black. Going from everyday to kind of mainstream to high performance. And then we've kind of the specialized drives in a red, which would be like for NAS drives, or a purple for surveillance.
Men i dag der skal det handle om deres mainstream drev, om deres blå drev. Og jeg spurgte Darragh O'Toole, hvad der gør de her drev så specielle.
What we did is we replaced our WD Blue SN550, which was our kind of our most popular drive. This did about 2,500 megabytes a second, with this new SN570, which does up to about 3,500 megabytes a second. So simply put, it's about 50% when you average out the performance, 50% improvement over the last generation. So this means you're getting really, really good performance at a very affordable mainstream price, plus has a 5-year warranty.
Så drevet skal være hurtigt, så langt så godt. Og drevet skal være det til den almindelige forbruger. Men hvad skal han så bruge det til, og hvor stort skal drevet være? Det var så noget, jeg også spurgte Darragh om.
So this is a kind of where things are changing. People have realized that if you kind of go too low on the capacities, if you've 250 gigs, you will spend your life deleting files, unless you have a system that does purely internet surfing. So in that scenario, you might be okay. If you have 500 gigabytes and you do some work, whether it's office-based or whether it's doing some social media or video creation, 500 gigs will not be enough. So people are primarily going where your budget allows, because when you're building a system, it's like building a house. You know, do you want gold-plated taps, or do you want to balance it out and make sure you've got carpets in the house? You've got to, balance your budget. So with this, you're probably going to go to a 1 terabyte model if you can, if your budget allows, because 1 terabyte just gives you that comfort that you can run it as both your OS drive and also your operating drive. So whether you're doing whether it's Photoshop video editing, whether you're editing videos that you're going to do for YouTube channels, 1 terabyte just gives you enough space.
Men det var plads, der bliver en lille smule nysgerrig om det her med at udskifte drevet. Jeg ved, for på min Mac, der er det tæt ved umuligt at komme til at udskifte det eksisterende drev med et nyt. Men hvad med en Windows-baseret PC? Er det en proces, som den almindelige forbruger kan finde ud af, eller er det noget, der kræver den lille ledvogtereksamen? Det spurgte jeg altså Darragh om, og han forklarede det, og kom også med et par gode råd undervejs.
Yes, it's as easy as changing a stick of RAM. So as the form factors have changed, so we used to go from a SATA SSD, which is kind of like a 2.5-inch form factor, which was like the same size as a mobile hard drive. And then we went to PCI Express connector, which runs the NVMe protocol. So people call these NVMe drives, which is perfectly okay. NVMe is kind of the language that it speaks. PCI Express is the connector. So they're very, very easy to install. I can actually show you here, if we take a typical laptop, so we'll just switch over here. And mainly the things to do is be prepared. So this is a very easy job, but like with anything, take 5 minutes and get prepared. Get yourself a magnetic screwdriver, very important. You're going to be taking screws out, so get a little bag for the screws. These are the things that will save you time and patience. Maybe a little magnet, very handy for keeping your screws together. Or just a little plastic tray, the tray that you get your SSD in, put the screws in there. So Google is your friend. Go on to Google, check the model number of your laptop, Google how to open your laptop or how to upgrade. And somebody, the internet is great for this, will have already done it. So here we've got a Dell XPS. So essentially, once you remove all the screws, that's step 1. Now, what you have to do, always check. There's always a hidden screw. So there's always one hidden under a sticker. So never force the top off your laptop. That's very important. Once you've taken the screws off, you very subtly like run your fingernail or something like a guitar pick is very useful under the sides. It'll all click off gently. And again, never force it because you can break the little tab. So once you've done that, you're kind of ready to go there. And as you can see here, the SSD slot is here. It's kind of pretty much same size as a stick of RAM. And take your screwdriver. The important thing is this little screw here. So your little M.2 screw. So we're just going to undo that and put it aside. So put it in your tray so you don't lose it because the screw comes with the laptop. So to install the SSD, ideally you should wear a wrist strap to make sure you don't get static on the drive. But if not, just hold it by the sides so you don't want to touch the components. So you've got the controller and the flash memory there. So it's very easy. You just pop it in there. You'll feel it click. So kind of a nice little click home there. Then get the screw and we'll try not to drop this. So here we go. Yeah, and it's the joy of magnetic screwdrivers. So just push it down there and you're just going to screw it down. And that's it. So it's literally, say 5 minutes of work and you're done. And that's all you need to do. And you put the cover back on. So that's the physical side. So the hardware side, there's not much mystery. You can do that. So there are two approaches. So we're talking about if you want to migrate your operating system. So just say you're very happy with everything. You had a 250 gig or a 500 gig and you think, it's Christmas. I'm going to get myself a 1 terabyte drive. I don't want to do anything else. I just want to swap everything across. If you have a desktop, it can be quite easy because in desktop PCs, sometimes there's 2 M.2 slots. So your little SSD M.2 is the actual size. M.2 2280 is 2280. It's just the size. There are lots of different terminologies, but essentially for the same thing. So in a desktop, there are 2 slots. You can put your new SSD in a second slot and you can copy the content over. So we give you a free copy. It's Western Digital's Acronis True Image software. You run that. It will literally copy it bit for bit onto the new drive. So that process is very easy because NVMe SSDs are pretty quick. So that can be maybe a 15-minute job. The only thing that slows that down is just say you're going from a hard drive to an SSD. The slowest part in the chain dictates how slow it will be. So that can be done very quickly in about 15 minutes. Once you've done that, power down the machine, unplug the cable, put your new SSD into your boot slot, reboot, and you're done. It's a very easy process. And the second way, so if you're on a laptop, obviously you don't have another slot. So if you want to keep your SSD, what you do is you would use something like this. So a little USB to NVMe adapter. So you would take your new drive and you put it in here in the same way we put it into the laptop. You just slot it in here, close the enclosure, and then connect it to your laptop. It will recognize the drive. Then you run the Acronis software again. It does the same magic, copies the drive bit for bit onto this. And then we get to where we were just there. So you take this newly, freshly copied drive and you swap it out with your old drive and reboot. And then you're good.
Under den her proces, der viste Darragh så den her lille adapter frem. Og jeg må så også lige høre, om det er en, der følger med drevet, eller om det er noget, man skal ud og købe bagefter.
Yeah, that's a separate purchase. So if you're, you can get them online. They vary anything from about $20 upwards.
Så, men hvis du nu ikke har, eller har lyst til at gå ud og købe sådan en af de her små adapter, så er der en metode mere til at få et af de nye SSD-drev ind i din computer på. Det betyder så bare, at du ikke får en kopi af din eksisterende Windows-installation.
Well, the other way you can do, and it's a kind of a recommended thing. So if now it's a great opportunity. Windows 11 has come out, so all the updates are coming out. People are thinking, hey, maybe I'll change my system. Maybe I'll upgrade to Windows 11. Or also Intel brought out its new Alder Lake chipset. So you might start building a desktop, and it's Christmas. Yeah. People want to do something. So it's a good time to do the upgrade. So at that time, one good thing to do before you make the upgrade is actually spring clean your drive. So you know how it is. Over time, you have tons of stuff. You just go, I'll sort that out another time. So sit down, delete all the rubbish. Otherwise, you're just migrating rubbish. And that's just taking you time and space. So delete your stuff and then get on. Otherwise, if you want to go clean, which is another great thing to do, you could back up all your rubbish and your video files and your photo files onto a portable drive. So give yourself lots of space and go, I'm going to go clean on Windows.
Yeah.
And now it's really easy. So Windows have, there's a downloadable little utility that allows you to download the Windows installer onto a USB drive. So I find that amazing because I remember having to install Windows off about 13 floppy drives.
Yeah.
You know, you'd have to take a holiday just to upgrade to Windows 3.1.1. And now you can download it onto a USB drive, and all you do, you put in your drive like we just did. Your machine's shut down. You insert the USB that you've created already. You boot up, asking it to boot off the USB. It starts the installation from the USB key. And in about 15 minutes, you have a fresh copy of Windows on the internet, which is amazing.
Alle SSD'er er ikke født lige, og bare fordi du propper et SSD ind i din computer, skal du ikke nødvendigvis forvente, at det er toppen af poppen. Så jeg spurgte Darragh, om Western Digital Blues SSD'er rent faktisk også er hurtige.
Yes. So for a mainstream drive, it's pretty fast. I kind of look at it like the BMW 3 Series. It does everything you really ever need for mainstream usage. You know, if you want to go beyond that, you kind of go up to WD Black for like bleeding edge performance. But in general, day-to-day terms, it's a very fast drive that will handle pretty much anything you throw at it.
Men er det så hurtigt nok til alle os, der skaber videoer til daglig, eller skal vi op i den lidt dyre klasse?
Yeah, be everyday usage. So whether you're doing something like video creation for social media. So it's not, if you're doing really high-res video, you'll probably go up the next level. If you're doing 4K, 6K, 8K, you go into the black territory. In blue territory, if you're doing 720, 1080p video creation, if you're using regular video editing software, then it's perfectly fine. It's designed for that kind of mainstream workload. So it's going to be a ton faster than a hard drive. If you've ever had, the experience when you go from a hard drive even to a SATA SSD, the difference is mind-blowing. Then when you go to an NVMe SSD, it's like, oh, so that's what was wrong with my computer. Because a lot of the time you find that with older computers, it was just crunching around in the hard drive, searching for tiny little files, and the drive is spinning around like crazy. With an SSD, it just goes, bang, you're done. Like, for example, if you have Chrome and you have 30 tabs open on a hard drive, that just freaks out a machine because it's tons of tiny little files. And you put in an SSD and it just goes, and it loads. So you go from like 3 to 5 minute boot time to 30 seconds or less.
Western Digital, baseret på NVMe-teknologien, den lyder ret spændende, og prisen behøver altså ikke være afskrækkende. Og nu må du have mig undskyld, jeg er nødt til at kigge ned, for jeg kan ikke huske priserne i hovedet. Drevene findes i 3 forskellige størrelser. Det mindste drev er på 250 GB, og det koster lige omkring 360 kroner. Et skridt op, så er det 500 GB, og det koster omkring 480 kroner. Og det helt store SSD på 1 TB, der skal du slippe med omkring 910 kroner, hvis du skal ud og have fat i det. Og husk lige, inden du nu bare ud og kører drevet det første og det bedste, så tjek de forskellige prisportaler der er, for du kan garanteret finde drevet til billigere penge, end det jeg har nævnt her. Jeg hedder Lars Benetsen, og jeg vil godt sige tak, fordi du har kigget med.